Big changes are coming, and Klay Thompson's decision. Those are the topics that we gotta talk about today, so let's go. Yo, what up guys? It's me, Lee. It feels like it's been forever since I said that, and it feels so good to say that. I am back bringing you guys some more daily NBA news, and I'm gonna apologize in advance if my energy isn't as high up as it typically is. I am feeling a bit under the weather, but I'm not gonna let that make me miss another day. I'm still gonna make a video. Let's do this. And of course, you guys already know that you are the real MVPs. You're coming back each and every single day. And hey, if you're new here, then yes, you are also greatly appreciated. Let's just get into everything that went down yesterday, but first, I do have to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video, SeatGeek. I feel like all of you should have this app by now. I get companies asking me about doing partnerships or sponsorships all the time, but I turn most of them down because I don't want to suggest anything to you guys that I don't think you would actually use and could actually benefit from. That's not the case with SeatGeek. This is legit the best ticket purchasing app you can find on the market. On top of the already great price, you could get an additional $20 off your first order by using the promo code SDC. It really is a fantastic app. I'll have all the links so you guys can check it out and download it down in the description box below. But now with that out of the way, let's just get into everything that went down yesterday. One thing that I have been loving about the NBA recently is their willingness to change. That they're listening to us, the fans, and what we want to make the game better. They did it with the All-Star game. Over the past few years, we were complaining about how boring it was. So this year, they changed up a bit. They had the whole NBA All-Star draft thing. Granted, we didn't get to see the All-Star draft on television, but they listened to us about that too, as Adam Silver said that next year, the NBA All-Star draft will be nationally televised. And the game itself was also a lot more competitive. So they are trying to make steps in the right direction to make the game more entertaining for us to keep it fresh. And they're not done making changes just yet, not only to the All-Star game, but also to the playoffs. First up, the All-Star game. Adam Silver says the league is considering just letting the top 24 players in the league get in instead of the top 12 players from each conference.
We should be taking a look at the top 24 players in the league as opposed to doing East versus West.
When it was announced that it would no longer be East versus West, I thought for sure that it would just be the top players in the league regardless of conference. Because if it's not East versus West, then why do we still have the same amount of players from each conference making the team? Only the best of the best should be allowed in the All-Star game, not just the best from each conference. So that's one change that they're looking into making. The other one, like I said, involves the NBA playoffs. As Adam Silver said, that the NBA has seriously been looking into ways in which they can change the seeding, the formula for the NBA playoffs.
When we get to the playoffs, should we be taking either the best 16 teams, or even if we go 8 from the West, 8 from the East, seeding 1 through 16 going into the playoffs? And that is something that has gotten serious attention, not just recently, but over the last few years at the league office. And I think, as I've said in the past, that the obstacle is travel. And it's not tradition, in my mind at least. It's that as we've added an extra week to the regular season, as we've tried to reduce the number of back-to-backs, that we are concerned about teams crisscrossing the country in the first round, for example. We are just concerned about the overall travel that we would have in the top 16 teams. Having said that, you'd like to have a format where your 2 best teams are ultimately going to meet in the finals. And obviously, if it's the top team in the East and the top team in the West, I'm not saying this is the case this year, but you could have a situation where the top 2 teams in the league are meeting in the conference finals or somewhere else. So we're going to continue to look at that, and it's still my hope that we're going to figure out ways. You know, maybe ultimately you have to add even more days to the season to spread it out a little bit more to deal with the travel. Maybe air travel will get better. All things we'll keep looking at.
So it sounds like it's either top 16 teams period, or still top 8 teams from both conferences, but then seeding is 1 through 16, and it's not just 1 versus 8 for each conference. And either one of those changes would be great. Personally, I think, like the All-Star game, only the best of the best should be allowed in the top 16 teams record-wise, regardless of conference, if there would even be conferences at that point. That being said, like Silver said, travel would then become a huge factor. Just imagine if the Knicks had to play the Lakers or some other team out in California. That's a 6 to 6.5 hour flight that they will have to make a few times in that series alone. With that kind of travel, it could easily cause the players to become more fatigued, not be able to play their best, and also put them at a higher risk for getting injured. But Silver did say the solution to this problem would be to extend the length of the playoffs so players could catch up on some rest after those long flights. But the thing is, if you extend the length of the playoffs by, let's say, a couple of weeks, first off, you're cutting even more into the players' offseason, which I don't think they'd appreciate. And then you most likely have to move the date of the NBA draft back, since since that normally happens a couple weeks after the NBA Finals, and then free agency will probably have to start at a later date as well. See, it's a very complicated thing. You can't just change the way the NBA playoffs work without it affecting various other things within the NBA. One idea though that is being thrown around that could spice things up a little bit without the NBA having to make drastic changes is this: it stays pretty much the same. And what I mean by that is the top 8 teams from each conference still make the playoffs and they still play within their conference, but instead of the number 1 seed playing the number 8 seed, the top 4 teams from each conference would get to pick who they want to play in the first round. First seed gets first pick, second seed gets second pick, third seed gets third pick, and so on and so forth. I think that idea could give the playoffs a little more of a grudge match type feel, which I will be completely down for. Just imagine though, the number 1 seed getting to pick their opponent and still losing. Just imagine the amount of fantastic memes that could be made. So if the NBA thinks that having conference-less playoffs will be too much of a hassle, that is another legit option that they could look into. One of the biggest free agents in the summer of 2019 will be Klay Thompson. And by now we all know that if he plans to keep playing for the Golden State Warriors, he's gonna have to be okay with taking a pay cut, since the Warriors cannot afford to pay him a max salary while still paying Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant, and Draymond Green. It's just not possible. So even though he wants to keep playing in Golden State, it is possible that the bag that Golden State has to offer him might not be big enough, and that could force him to play somewhere else, and he'd be open to playing somewhere else as long as it's somewhere warm. I definitely want to play somewhere warm. I've been playing a lot of golf, so whatever fits well, but it's special to be with one franchise your whole career. Only so many guys have done it in professional sports, and it would be weird leaving the Bay Area. I believe I'm going to be there for a very long time. I can say that truthfully, but a lot can happen in the next 2 years. It's going to be hard to leave California when it's sunny like this. Back in October, Klay Thompson did say that he'd be willing to take a pay cut to stay with the Golden State Warriors, but at the same time he said he's not going to be able to take as big of a pay cut as someone like Kevin Durant did, since he doesn't make as much money as Kevin Durant does off the court, so he needs his contract, he needs his bag to be a little bit bigger than the bag that Kevin Durant is getting. But it does seem like Klay Thompson really wants to stay with Golden State. He said that he can see himself being there for a very, very long time, and I believe that. Why would he want to leave? He is in such a great position. He gets to make the All-Star team, he still gets paid a lot of money, he's in California, which he likes the weather there, he gets to compete for and win championships. As a player, there isn't much more you could ask for. So like I said, he wants to stay in Golden State, but if the bag isn't big enough, if he feels like he's getting lowballed or the Warriors can't pay him what he's asking for, well, he might just dip. So Golden State, y'all gonna need to find some way to break the bank. But that's going to lead us to the question of the day. How would you guys change the format of the NBA playoffs? Which one of the suggested ideas is your favorite? Let me know down in the comment section below. But I guess that's going to do it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to smack that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more daily NBA news, as well as join the quest to 200,000 subscribers, hashtag a million a year. Thank you once again for watching. I'll see all of you right back here tomorrow, but until then, I'm out of here. Peace.